Well, hello everyone. How you doing tonight? I see we have 3 people here. Let me do this real quick. What am I looking for? Oh, over here. And we can unlock that. Turn that on. There we go. That's a little better. So how's everyone doing tonight? Oh, I thought that was the cat. How was your day? Hi Phyllis. How are you doing? What did everyone do today? I know I hung on the couch and watched the football games. First one was good, second one was boring, so. How about you, Scott? How are you doing today? And Teresa. Hey there, how you doing? Good to see you. What? Yeah, I got a kitty cat that's running around here in heat. She's like, oh, so annoying. Here she comes. How you doing tonight, QC? So, Scott, how was your day? What? What? Good to hear. Good to hear. What'd you do today? Well, like I said, I just kind of couch potatoed it today and watched the football games. Hello, how we doing today?
Hey,
How are you doing today?
well, I've got laryngitis.
Oh, okay. Who am I speaking to anyway?
Say it again, please.
Who am I speaking to anyway?
It's Phyllis.
Yes, I wanted you to say your name for everyone.
Phyllis Wheeler.
So what did you do today?
Oh, rested from working last night.
What's that?
I rested from working last night.
Oh, okay. Well, like I said, I just kind of hung on the couch and watched football games today. So what do you want to talk about?
Well, for me, it was late May of 2016, and I had already noticed some things prior to all this, but I kind of wrote it off. First things I guess I noticed was in 1990, Jiffy Peanut Butter turned to Jif, and I just thought it was maybe a logo violation.
Yeah. Turns out it's always been Jif.
Yeah, and I remember a Chick-fil-A getting the K, and that was like, I don't know, 2010-ish or whatever. I went to the Asheville Chick-fil-A and said, when did y'all remodel and put a K on the Chick-fil-A? I always wondered why it didn't have a K. And they looked at me strange, and they said they always had a K. And I said, okay. I thought that was weird.
Yeah. That was one of my first big ones that I saw. Because my computer store was right across the street from Chick-fil-A, and I used to eat there, you know. So I'd always see the sign every day. So when they added a K, I knew that they added a K, you know, and it was like, and it turns out they didn't add a K. They're saying it's always been that way.
Yeah, that's weird when, the people are like, I've been here since 2005 and we've always had a K. I'm like, okay, all right. For you, that's great, you know?
Yeah.
But I mean, I wasn't really affected at those times. I just thought, okay, I didn't have an idea of what to think. You know, it wasn't like an eye opening until late May of 2016. My oldest nephew finally got married, and I had just visited with my family. Hadn't seen them in a long time. A lot of my family's from Pennsylvania. They're the Easton, near New Jersey.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's Hellertown, and I'm not ready. You know, so just different places in Pennsylvania. They're all scattered about up there. My mama's side. But it wasn't until then that my daughter and I had gone to our local library, and she went to pick out a Berenstain book, and it looked just like the characters. And I looked at the copyright right away, and it said 1987. And I told her, I said, we have Berenstain books at home. I said, we'll look at the real books. I don't know what this is. This is weird. And she didn't know what to make of it because she's like 5 at the time, and well, she's younger, 7 or probably about the time, and she just thought, you know, that's weird that mom's tripping about that. And when I got home, the book said Berenstain, and I had owned it all my life, and I was like, oh, this ain't right. This ain't right. So my son and I are going to the local grocery store later on that day, and I almost like have what I would call like a stealth seizure, holding Oscar Mayer hot dogs in my hands. Looks just like Oscar Mayer hot dogs. It has the little box. It says Oscar correctly, Mayer, Mayer.
Yeah.
What? And my son's not knowing what's going on, and he's like, you wanted hot dogs, why don't you just put them in the cart, Mom? Let's go. And I'm like, but that's not right. This is wrong. This is someone's name. You don't change people's names, man. Anyways, we continue to the cereal aisle, and then there's Fruit Loops.
Yeah.
And I'm tripping. I said, oh, that looks cool. The loops everywhere with the O's everywhere. And I said, that wasn't the way it was. And he looks at me, and at the time, I think he was like 15 or 14. And he's like, it's always had Fruit Loops like that. I said, no, fruit was spelled like fruit, like banana.
Yeah.
And he's just like, whatever, Mom. So later on that night, this is all in one day. Later on this night, we're reading Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs book that I've owned all my life. It's like a 70s copy or something. And I'm reading to my daughter, and it said magic mirror on the wall. And I looked at her, and I said, you know this said mirror, mirror. She said, yes, it's always mirror, mirror. And I said, but it doesn't say that. Look at it. And she's like, this is a magic mirror, Mama. Maybe you've been reading it wrong all this time. I said, no, Celeste. It says mirror, mirror.
Yeah.
It's going to be that way. So my son's visiting, and I go talk to him about it. I'm like, what is that iconic line that wicked stepmother says in front of that mirror on Snow White? And he says, I'm not a girl. I said, Stefan, I read you Snow White and Seven Dwarfs when you were little. Come on, just answer the question. And he's like, mirror, mirror. I said, well, it doesn't say that no more. Look at this book. It doesn't say it. And he's like, well, what do you think's going on with you, Mom?
Yeah.
I said, I don't know. I said, but I know that YouTube seems to know a lot. I'm going to go on YouTube and see if anything is popping up that I can try to figure out what's going on with this. And we do. We find the Mandela effect. And we watch a few videos, and some people are mocking it, you know. And I run into Photohelix, and he's talking about the Bible changes.
Right.
And everything he's saying, I can agree with, you know, like, I'm like, okay, yeah, I remember the Lion and the Lamb. That was like one of the first things when I first decided that, you know, I was raised Catholic. And I don't want to, like, knock the religion because there's a lot of good Catholics out there. There's a lot of people that know God. But, I mean, there's a lot of fallacies, too, and there's a lot of doorways to lead you away from God, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't pray to Mary. There's nowhere in the Bible that says you should do that.
Right.
And anyway, so I did, around age 14, I started reading the Bible on my own so I could get to know God. And I started kind of like in Isaiah, because by the time I had originally started reading the Bible before this time, it was like Genesis and Leviticus, and Deuteronomy is a real interesting book. So Deuteronomy kind of swayed me away from the Bible for a while, but still, I'm 14 years old. I'm reading The Lion Lays Down with the Lamb, and the little child shall lead them in my holy mountain. You know, it's like a peaceful synopsis. And I tell you what, this is the best time of my life that I can recall. The best sleep I've ever had after reading that verse and going to bed that night. And I guess if I had to say, when did I find God? I think it was that night.
Yeah.
And that's when I started, searching to find Jesus. Seeking deep thou shalt find.
Yeah.
But I was listening to a photo ran about the different Bible changes. I remember wineskins, and he's saying the lion and lamb, and I'm not really in the interest. It's like 3 a.m. at this time. I'm not in the interest to go get my Bibles out and go check out what he's saying. But I straight up looked at my son. I said, I told you something's up, because I had taught him about CERN about a year prior to that.
Right.
They were messing with stuff they shouldn't be messing with. And I said, that guy's on crack. I'm going to bed. Well, 2 weeks went by, and something kept on telling me, you need to check out what that guy was saying on TV. So I re-listened to what Photo said in that one particular broadcast that he had made, and I started checking out my Bibles, because I have all different kinds. But I do have a King James Bible too. But I couldn't find Lion and Lamb in any of them. I couldn't find it. And it was like, I know it said that. And the first thing that drew near was like, Jesus told us, watch out for the wolves in sheep's clothing. This is like something he's trying to tell us, that this is not good.
Right.
So, I've been severely affected ever since 2016. And I was happy to find you and Sharon at the time. And it's been a whirlwind ever since, feeling lonely and listening to people agree with you about, like, you ask them just a random question, not trying to lead them. Like I say sometimes, I say, what did Darth Vader say to Luke to say that they were related? That's the type of questions I ask. And you get people say things like, oh, well, that's the most misquoted line. Or you have people that say, Luke, I am your father.
Yeah.
And then later on, they'll be like, maybe I was wrong. It's like, oh my God. So I feel like I'm in a zombie world, Twilight Zone, hell, I don't know. Not really. Because, I have really a lot of good things happening for me, too. But it is hard, especially when I used to have really good friends I could talk to and pick up, like, you had talked to him yesterday. You had talked to for years. And now if you try to talk to them about the changes, they don't seem to understand.
Yeah, I've literally lost friends over this.
To a stranger.
Yeah, I've literally lost friends over this. My family actually even ostracized me for a very long time. They wouldn't talk to me.
Well, it took 6 months for my mom to finally look up the Lion and Lamb, because she remembered that.
Yeah.
And she didn't call me when she finally did look it up, so I let it sit, because my husband said, what you're doing is wrong. You need to plant seeds and not share all your information, because you're freaking people out. You're making people not want to talk to you about it. And so I let my mom, dwell on that for a little while. And I finally called her up one day, and I don't like talking to her, but I called her up. I said, well, did you open up your book finally? She says, yes, I did. And I said, and what did it say? Because if you have the book that says the Lion and Lamb lays down together, I want to come get it. I want to come see it.
Yeah.
And she said, no, my book says wolf. I said, okay, so what does it mean, Mom? She says, I don't know. I'm just going to pray on it. And we don't talk much about it. And she's big into reading the Bible every day, which is really awesome, because I feel like the Catholicism, they like to try to do like this 3 to 5 year cycle of just repeating the same kind of verses over and over. And she's actually so seeking God, searching Him through the Bible, which I think is the best thing you can do. So I don't know. I don't understand why people see the changes. They don't seem to understand how important it really is.
Well, there are those that see the changes that relate them straight to scripture and prophecy. Then there are those that are not saved and they're into the new age stuff or the infinite dimension stuff, and they go off on some crazy stuff, ideas. I tend to see it as written in prophecy. It's written in Amos 8:11, and that's where we're at.
Yeah, well, I talk to people at work too, and there's a lot of strong believers that happen to work with me. We deal with suicidals, homicidals, people, people that need extra TLC at a hospital. And it's a calling that I haven't left because I also have a machining degree. I got that in 2005, but standing for me at long periods of time is really hard. I was born with birth defect. It's a rare, like win the lottery in bone diseases because it's a genetic defect that when you reach puberty, you end up with bone tumors. Usually, most people are only affected in one bone, but I unfortunately have one in my pelvis and my tibia, and it just makes standing rough for a long period of time. So I feel like God's called me to the hospital to try to help minister to these people, that don't feel so hot and want to kill people, or want to kill themselves. I understand too. I can relate to wanting to die. I was in a bad marriage once, and I got diabetes, and it was like a year after my bone tumor operation, and I was at my wit's end with the pain that I was going through, and feeling lonely, and feeling like I couldn't live up to my husband's expectations. That I just gave up for the deal of life. And I want to say that was probably 2007, yeah. So I have been definitely that close to death. I took too much insulin. I became type 1 diabetic when I was like 25. And I woke up. So obviously it wasn't my time. I got the help I needed, and I got the divorce I needed. That's really what I need to do with this divorce. Because, raised Catholic, you're told not to divorce. That unless maybe if they cheat, but then never get married again. I mean, I don't know where people find out these rules, because I remember clearly reading in the Bible, if someone cheats on you, or if you're not evenly yoked, then maybe it's best to separate, go your other ways. And for me, my favorite Bible verse is Corinthians book 2, chapter 13, where it talked about love is patient, love is kind, love is enduring, love is never ending. And now the King James says charity.
Yes.
And charity's great, but it's not the same as love. And I don't think it matters really if someone knows how to read the Bible, or if someone's a new Christian and didn't read it, the book. I think we all generally are born with an innate knowing of what God wants for us, to love one another, to treat each other like we want to be treated. So when I originally, reached out to you 2 years ago, it was to try to put the Bible back for my children, because my 14-year-old son at the time had never picked up the book.
Right.
And I'm not much into that right now at this point, because I do think we all generally do know what Jesus wants from us. It's just some people are so busy with all this other distractions that we miss out on maybe what is right, or what he wants us to do. Like I'm having a feeling that it's time for me to make my personal video on my channel, to tell other people that they're not alone. And I got a really interesting time last night with one of my people that was assisting. And I don't generally just come up and talk to people about it anymore, because you get ostracized,
Yep.
But this guy, he seemed pretty laid back and open-minded. So I eventually shared, and I said things like, "Where I come from, this is the way Ford used to look," you know. And he's like, "Yeah, yeah." I said, "But it's not that way. And it doesn't matter if it's a 1950 Ford car or anything. It doesn't matter how old it is. It now has a little E there, and it's cursive. Everything is." Because I personally remember that F was kind of cursive-like, and it was ORD, and it was all print. ORD was not in cursive.
Right.
And I have one residue picture of that, but most people seem to just be caught up on the little E that's there, which the E was never there, but it is now. So I don't know. I come from a concrete world where things didn't change. You know, that, you know, if something was, it always will be. And obviously it's not that way anymore.
Yeah. Well,
How you hanging in there, Paul?
I'm just using it to. It brought me to the point of becoming a watchman on the wall, and not only seeing the changes, but seeing prophecies being fulfilled left and right, and it's led me down a path that I never expected I would ever be on. Never thought I'd ever, never in my life did I think I'd be doing something like this, you know. And now I can't think of anything to do but this, you know.
That's awesome. I appreciate all that you do for all of us that are praying for everyone else to wake up. You know, the kid last night, he was very receptive. He wasn't hateful. He didn't turn to Mr. Smith from The Matrix, where they say the same old lines that we hear often.
Yeah.
You know, like it's always been that way. What? No, it can't be. It was not always that way, dude. It's just amazing to me how many people just are brainwashed out there.
Well,
it's awful.
Yeah, it's you know, I've gotten to the point to where, you know, I don't fight with these people anymore, and I can tell when the asleep ones. There's no reason to even try to spend all my time trying to convince them, because they get very violent about it, you know. So I don't confront people anymore. I do my videos and I leave it at that. And when I come across those and I mention something about it, and they're like, "Nope, that ain't happening," I go, "Okay, we're done." You know what I mean? Let's subject change, because they get very violent. You know, it's angry. It's like, okay, you know, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean?
I don't know, but I agree with you. I liked what you said last night about the should not now. It's not a definite like it definitely was before. And that's what I want to hold on to my memories, because that doesn't change the fact that it still is the lion lays down with the lamb. Jesus was the Word of God, and I think the book was written pretty close to what God wanted originally. And like you said last night also, Revelation, that last chapter talks about anyone who adds or takes away, they will get the plagues of this book.
Yep.
You know?
That's exactly what it says.
Yeah, I remember shall not perish. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have an everlasting life.
Right,
because like beautiful. You know?
The word should gives you a percentage that even if you do everything right and you do follow him, you still might not make it, you know? And
the book itself kind of makes it feel like if you're not really strong grounded, that maybe, you know, none of us are worthy, you know, that none of us should go to heaven. But if you know Jesus and you understand what he wanted, then yeah, it is possible. He wants you to tell the people that he's the reason that we're here. We need to be gathering up like we are right now in praise and worship and saying, "Thank you, God. Thank you for this opportunity to be part of this." You know, even though we struggle, this is awesome. God gave us life. He gave us the breath of life. I mean, there's so many people that lose the whole meaning of what this is all about. It's a test, you know, to to tell your brothers and sisters about Jesus and to tell them how awesome he is and to tell them that he's going to make it all right in the end, that all the pain and suffering that we go through, we're not going to have to worry about.
Yeah. Well, it's a matter of getting to the point, you know, right now we're just day by day, you know what I mean? And walk through this world waiting for him to return.
Yeah, but this is supposed to be the peaceful time in a way because things don't get better from here on out until he comes back.
Right.
I mean, people are so stupid now, they're eating Tide Pods, for real.
Yeah, I just did a video on that.
I didn't see your video yet, but I told my husband, I said, Jesus has got to come back. They're just dumbing down. Everyone's getting dumber as time goes by. I mean, for real, he's got to come back now. For real. I mean, my husband said that they're now putting in vapor cigarettes and passing out up to 3 Cokes or something.
Yeah.
Sick world. I don't understand it. I mean, the things I know. Naivety is bliss, for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's like when I did that video, part of it, there's in one of the backgrounds I use, it says that fluoride stare. It shows a bunch of people looking really confused. And I get a comment, you spelt fluoride wrong. My answer back was, out of that video, that's what you got out of it? I spelled fluoride wrong? I said, you just made my point about the world getting dumb, you know?
Right. Well, not only that, but who's to say you did spell it wrong? Because I spelled the lemon with the N still, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know of any Emmas out there, but everyone else seems to know that one. So I don't know. How do people's names change? What does that mean? I'm watching it happen. I mean, and then like my mother-in-law will say things like, "Oh well, that's just the way their mama changed her names." I said, "What do you explain about someone's last name changing?" There's a kid I went to school with. He was a Weinberg. Weinberg. Now it's Weinburgh. And his whole family's changed. I mean, they're all that spelling now.
And not a one of them noticed it.
No. And my friend who is on Facebook that's from high school, you know, he didn't notice my post, and I didn't tag him in it. But,
yeah.
I mean, of course, I think Facebook has a way of trying to make sure people don't get to see things. I think the devil is definitely doing awful things. Like it seems like you're experiencing YouTube issues with last night's videos because it seems like there's a whole slew of information that I can't get a hold of. I don't know if it's just me, but like there's a couple of uploads you've been trying to do. I think you saw my messages where there's no sound.
Yeah.
From last night. So, yeah, that's just the devil trying to make sure that other people can't hear, you know, our testimonies.
Wow.
Yeah, like Joel Osteen, like I see the comment there.
Yeah.
I remember the L in Joel Osteen.
Yeah, I'm one of them ones. Absolutely, it was Olstein. It was never Osteen, and now it is. You know. And then you got
Joyce Myers. You know.
Barbara Streisand. Her first name's now changed.
Well, so I don't want to judge. I don't want to judge people. I don't try to. I mean, everyone's got different reasons for why they feel the way they do. But with the name changes, it seems like maybe a last name's not so significant because it could be someone in their family that might be why the change happened. Because remember the Bible talked about if a father is done sins or whatever, the next 7 generations would be punished in some sort. I don't really remember the exact wording of that verse.
The sins of the father will be passed down unto 3 generations.
Yes, something. Yes, something that it would carry on. Yes, that's what I remember. And I don't know, but like the first name changes. I don't know. It kind of reminds me of like the Book of Life.
Yeah. Cowboy just made a comment.
He said, "In the Book of Life."
Cowboy just made a comment. He said, Olstein preaches feel good, not the word. And I saw
Amen. That's what I think.
somebody put up
For
a post.
real.
Somebody put up a post on Facebook, and I had to laugh because it said, "Yeah, that would be exactly what it would do." It shows a picture of Joel Olstein, and it says, "What is the moral of the story of Noah's Ark?" And at the bottom it says, "Everybody deserves a yacht." And that would be
Oh my.
what he would preach. That's his mentality, you know.
Yeah. I used to like Joel Osteen. Back in the early 2000s, I haven't had cable in over 20 years. I don't like it. It costs too much. I mean, if I want cable, I can go visit a friend, you know. But I would go to my friend's Mary house. She's passed away now. I miss her. But she used to say, "Well, we can watch Joel Osteen, but I don't like him. There's something wrong about him, and I can't put my finger on him, but there's something not right." And it wasn't but like 2 or 3 years later, I said, "What's not right is I never seen him open that book and read from it. You know, you don't even read scripture, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe he does now. I don't know. But back in the day, he didn't.
He still does. From what I understand, he still doesn't.
I'm not sure. I try to stray away from that. And then when I have new friend Christians, you know, and they're finding God and they're trying to do it through Joel Osteen, I don't even have usually the heart to tell them, "Well, watch out." You know, in the sense that if they're liking his feel-good speeches or whatever, should I even bother telling them, watch out, that he's not actually a man of God, that he's not preaching, he's not elevating God? You should be telling people it's not me, it's Jesus, man, like you do, you know? That's one of the things that kept me, you know, wanting to be part of your group, you know, the fact that you elevate God. That's what it's about. It's about Jesus. Everything's about Jesus, people. He died for us. I mean, I guess some people don't understand that, but it was a part of God's plan that he had to be slain so that we could be forgiven, because otherwise we all be doomed.
Yeah, you got that right.
And then, so I have a 9-year-old with behavior problems now, but she's definitely got her own issues that aren't her fault, you know, just like the world's not fair, you know. And she tells me how she's afraid sometimes, and that's why she acts out. And I tell her, it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter if you say it out loud or you say it in your head. You say, "Jesus, help me through this." You're never alone if you have God. If you know Jesus and he's your best friend, no matter what's facing you, you'll be all right. Just call on his name. He'll be there for you. He knows. He doesn't never close the door on you. He knows everything. Even those atheists out there that don't believe.
Yeah.
Jesus knows them too. So,
out of words.
I invited my husband to come sit with me. I said it was church. He says, "It's not church, it's a call-in show." I said, "No, it's for Jesus." And he's like, "You can have Jesus without that show." I said, "You don't understand. You don't understand what I go through and how lonely I feel." And, you know, my husband remembers, "Judge not, lest you be judged by the same standards." But he don't remember the Lion and the Lamb. He said he didn't read it, so he doesn't know. You know, at least he's honest about it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, but my husband's affected in other ways, just not with the logos. He's got a brain injury. He's got a beautiful testimony that he speaks of, where he says when he was about to die that Archangel Michael came to him and healed him. And it's neat because it's like the room lights up as he speaks about it to different people sometimes. So I don't know. For a long time there, I thought my husband was affected, but then he got to the point where he doesn't really have anger emotions. But he eventually said, "I wish you stopped talking about the changes." I said, "So you don't want me to talk no more?" He says, "No, just talk about something else." I said, "I'm sorry. When I want to talk to someone, I want to talk about what's going on in my life, and I'm sorry, when they put two teeth in mattress, that bothers me because I have like a photographic memory.
Right.
I'm not I don't know every spelling of every word. I don't know every animal that ever existed, but I know some of these new things. For real, Norrell, unicorn of the sea,
Yeah.
freaking cuttlefish. I mean, the only thing I remember ever changing colors was chameleon, and now cuttlefish can actually shape shift. They can. This is really. There's a creepy documentary on YouTube about cuttlefish. I think it's like an hour and some minutes long. But I mean, the men cuttlefish turn into females to trick the females so they can rape them. And that's how they have babies. What? For real? No.
Yeah.
That's what they teach you. What? No. I'm not of this world. That's for sure. I'm definitely not of this world. I don't know where I am, but the Twilight Zone. It's funny because my dad always had a joke with me about me staring off into space when I was a kid, and he go do 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 Twilight Zone, Phyllis, where you at? And I'm really there. I'm really there now. And I talked to my father about these changes, and I really don't know how he feels. I haven't seen him in 8 years. He moved to Hawaii. That's where he's from. And he listens, and he doesn't get hateful. He laughs, and he remembers things like I do, but he doesn't seem to be truly understanding that something serious is going on.
Yeah. I kind of don't talk to my dad about it. He's 84 years old, and kind of let him be. You know what I mean? His health is failing. He's going home soon, and we know this. So why stress him out? You know what I mean?
Well, I had a grandma-in-law that passed away 2 years ago, and it was August, right before CERN turned up their energy to high level. So I don't know if she noticed the changes or not, but I know right before she passed away, she was asking for the Bible, and the only Bible we could find was like a Gideon's or something, because we were at the hospital. And I know when we read certain scriptures to her, because she wanted that done, that she wasn't happy with some of the things maybe she was hearing. I wish she was still alive, because she was one of those people that prayed for everyone.
Yeah.
That when you met with her, she wanted to hear about you. And then, she would complain a lot. But, she always wanted to know about you, like a real person should. They should be asking you about you and then tell about what they're going through, And she was always praying for everyone. And I thought what was neat about her funeral was how she had 3 pastors actually show up and minister that funeral. And one of them said, who's going to pick up the pace? Who's going to be the one that prays for everyone now that Bear is gone, That's a calling, that's for sure. I have a prayer jar because my memory is pretty good intact, but now that I'm 39, I am getting older, and sometimes I forget. And instead of saying, like, I'll pray for you later or whatever, if someone's asking for prayer, I'm praying for them right then and there. And not everyone on Facebook do I say I'm praying for you. Sometimes I just pray for you. That's what you do.
Yeah.
It's nice to write in stone, but it's better to at least talk to God about it. God should be your best friend. And he comes before everyone, even your family.
Absolutely.
That's what I told my husband. I said, I'm sorry you're upset with me that this is what I want to do and this is our day off together. I said, but, when God tells you to do something, you don't slam the door in space and say, maybe later. You do it. You do it. That's what you do. And if you don't do it, then you'd be like Jonah, suffering.
Well, yeah, the way it's supposed to go is the importance in your life is God first, then your spouse, then your kids, then your friends, God always should be at the top,
Amen. Definitely.
Well, we're just about coming up on my hour where I'm going to shut the live stream down and let it load up to the channel. So thank you very, very, very much for calling in and giving your testimony. And stay in the live chat, and I will let this load up to my channel. And we'll be talking to you shortly.
All right. Bye.
All right. Good night. There you go, folks. Let me close that out. There we go. All right, we're at 55 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and close this out and let it upload to my channel, and stay in the live stream and in the live chat, and when I come back, I'll put notice that I'm live. And if you don't see the live stream, refresh your browser or open up a new tab. So with that said, peace, my brothers and sisters.